What's going on, everybody? And in this video, we're providing you a state of the market and stock picks for August 23rd, 2022. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, consider subscribing, as we do provide daily and weekly updates to get you prepared for the day and the week ahead in this glorious market. So what do we got going on? The biggest thing going on this week, it is a big event. We do have Jackson Hole, so we're going to get a lot of info from the Fed. But what we're really looking at is Powell on Friday. I believe it's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He'll be speaking. Now, there is a lot of information coming out that the Fed is coming in with a 75-point basis move on the next meeting. And a lot of people are saying that it's overkill, but you have to understand that even though inflation has come down, it's still extremely high, and that is the issue. Again, with demand destruction, there's not a lot of people buying. So who is really buying? And I've talked about this thesis in the weekly update, essentially that us shilling tons of cash over to Ukraine, in turn they're using that cash to buy from us is helping. I think with a lot of the data, exports have gone way up. The data is there to show this. And people are picking up multiple jobs because they can't afford gas. And so even today, the dollar is still sitting at 108. Gas is floating around 90 right now. And things are getting interesting in Germany with their pipeline. They're doing maintenance for 3 days. Gas for them went up, I believe it was like 20% or something. Because of the maintenance on the gas lines. Again, they're running off of, I think, only 2 months worth of supply. Still dealing with Russia cutting them off. Could be a really big issue coming into the fall. Something we were kind of touching on and concerned about going into the fall. So again, we still have a core CPI coming up. We still have the Fed in later September. We are coming off of earnings, so there is no more momentum to the upside at this point. Now we are kind of getting in that panic mode, is what you're kind of starting to see. Technical wise, we had a clean break. And this is what I talked about. I talked about the other day that everything was looking exactly the same and that a big move was coming. And that's kind of what we got today. We didn't even get any bounce. Now, if this thing doesn't bounce off the 4140 tomorrow, they come in below this, we're going to start really seeing some lows pretty quickly, I think, in my opinion. The 75-point basis move is roughly around that 3,900, I believe. I did take it off on accident, but I think it's roughly around that 3,900. I think we could at least be heading there. That would make a higher low if we don't, as long as the core CPI it doesn't shoot back up. If it does shoot back up, I can see us heading right back down to that 36 level and retesting that major support. We have to see how things play out. It's all, again, earnings mode is over. We had a nice run. And now this is a normal pullback. Even though we're starting to get some gas, we could get potentially more gas to pull this thing down a little bit more. Again, if we bounce off that 38, roughly around that 75-point basis move would be, I think we could potentially, again, chop around here and see. Again, if that report is higher than 9.1, then obviously we haven't reached peak inflation. And I think that's going to really set in a lot of panic at that point. People were faked out the first time with the fake pump and then realized we didn't hit peak. Now people are a little bit more cautious, and now they're like, okay, well, we might be coming in worse than that. And we get another 75-point basis move. That's essentially going to put us in recession. And the Fed has stated that in the meeting minutes last week, that they're fully aware that they continue with these fast rate hikes, that they're going to put us in recession. They're aware of that. They're aware of any other diseases that could potentially come. They're aware of China, right? They made note of all those things in the last meeting notes. So Jackson Hole is going to get you kind of upfront and personal this week with what's going on with Powell and everything, since we don't get them for another little over a month from now. So interesting spot, and we'll see what happens from here. With that being said, technical wise, we do really have to bounce here. If we don't, we could be in trouble. The fact we're not getting any bounces is a sign right there. Again, the dollar 108, oil sitting at 90. Things are still very high. Just because they might be coming back down a little bit, it doesn't mean they're not down from some major highs. Tesla, it bounced off the 20. We did get a bounce off it before. Tomorrow is going to be important. Tesla really needs to hold 835. If it can't hold that, could be in for some trouble. Now, Tesla does have a stock split, so that in itself on Thursday could help keep it up. After that split, though, it could start really selling off. So we have to see what happens there moving forward. Google, one I want to see here, did break below the 20. So I actually expect this thing to start getting some gas to the downside. It's one of the first ones that do sell off really hard if there is any kind of rate raises or anything like that. So I'm watching this for a potential bottom at 105. Watching it closely. It does have support at 108. So, but this thing does run very fast, quickly, and it has gone through a stock split. So this is something to keep in mind. Since the stock split, how will this thing move? Again, before it would have some major nasty moves, and then now it just kind of it doesn't play quite the same. The moves aren't as big, and you're going to see that with Tesla after the stock split. The 100-point moves that you're getting, you may only get 50-point moves after that point. So though Tesla does run like 300 points at a time, so you chop that in half, maybe you get 150, 150 points. As opposed to what it was before. So these are things you got to keep in mind and know what stock splits do, because you're seeing a lot of them because of people trying to be make things recession proof. Shop has been pretty much junk. Amazon could potentially have this huge gap fill if it can't hold 133 overnight. This thing could gap all the way down to 125. Could be a good potential play to the downside. There's a lot of stuff again that's up on high levels. That if we do break down tomorrow, could have a lot of selling. And tech in particular, you want to be watching because it could get some massive selling. Chips, right? They had some really bad forward guidance, and they're still really high. They pushed up, even though some of these did really bad. So these things could sell all the way back down. NVIDIA, it's got earnings this week, but this thing could sell all the way back down to 40. Again, if it breaks that, then we're going to get, I think if we get any kind of panic as far as recession, I think we're going to go back down and revisit that level on SPX, potentially break it around that 36. So just be mindful of that. BA, starting to break down. Everything looks the same. We broke out. BA needs to hold the 154 mark. If you can't hold that, this thing is coming down, although it does have a lot of support around the 140. And then roughly around the 121, and then back down to the 116. So watch that. Banks did give way quite a bit today. They had that nice run. Now they're really starting to sell off. JPM needs to hold 118. If it doesn't hold that, again, watch banks tomorrow. If the banks break this, you're going to start getting some gas to the downside. So if the banks don't start giving up, there's going to be some massive downside here. GS is still doing really good though. It did good on earnings, so that's what really is helping it. But it's had this massive run, a natural pullback. We might get it down to the 323. I think we're just kind of moving in a natural pullback anyway. But again, if it starts breaking these key levels, like if Bank of America breaks essentially $33, this thing could start going higher low and start selling off even more. So make a lower low potentially coming into the next play. But that's pretty much what I got. I don't want to make this video too long. Again, it depends on how we open. We're starting to get some stuff. All the things I've been talking about starting to kind of play out a little bit. And so now you're starting to see selling come back. The question is can we hold support? We didn't even hold any support, and it was the first time hitting it. That shows the fear and panic that's starting to come back in the markets, especially with the Fed being so vocal this week, getting a lot of action, the Fed from Jackson Hole. So that's going to give you a lot of insight into what's coming, and that's going to strike a lot of fear into the market. So just be mindful of that, and that's what we're going to get going on moving forward. So that being said, if you made this far, go ahead and drop a like button. Appreciate you. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.